Um,
There was also a really weird Wizard of Oz movie that we don't have much to say about.
yeah, it was the first Wizard of Oz movie. But
Well, I mean, to
well, debatable.
yeah, to link it back to what we were talking about with the Frankenstein movie, it is interesting to see like the 1930s Wizard of Oz movie is so famous and so iconic kind of.
Yes.
And this is before that one, and so it is very different and much worse in this case. Um and yeah, it's crazy to see a completely different take on this material from so much earlier. Um just cuz we're so used to seeing even like new takes on the Wizard of Oz are like inevitably kind of getting filtered through this lens of
Of the Judy Garland movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is like no songs, a bunch of weird farm animals played by people in costumes. Toto gets transformed by Glinda into a giant dog to fight the cowardly lion.
I will say the only thing that felt familiar to me about this was the Scarecrow physical acting. Um, I think that maybe it's just the natural way that you would assume a scarecrow moves.
How else would a scarecrow move? I mean,
I don't know. Ask Cillian Murphy.
ah,
Did I get that reference right? I wasn't actually sure. I
no,
wasn't
yeah,
confident going into that one.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it was fine. It was whatever.
Oz looks like Florida. Oz is very tropical in this film. The Wicked
Yeah.
Witch's name is Mamba.
I didn't make a note. Mamba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a bunch of wire work in this movie, which is kind of interesting. We haven't seen a lot of that. Of people jumping or flying around, which was a
yeah.
existing stage thing, which I'm sure is where they are taking it from. But we haven't
guess
seen
that's
it
right.
show up in a lot of films just yet.
It does feel like pretty theatrical. I think you were
Mm-hmm.
saying that it seems like it was pretty inspired by a stage show of the
Yeah,
Wizard of Oz.
I think it's more based on a 1902 stage production of The Wizard of Oz than it is on the original book. Hence, a lot of the weird, like seeming non sequiturs in this version of it.
right. And I mean also like a number of movies based on existing properties from this time, it's this like pastiche that doesn't actually tell its own story.
It's just sort of like
It
scenes from a thing
assumes
that you know.
Yeah, it assumes that you know the original work, and so it's just eye candy for those people.
Yeah.